everybody, this is Ilana Michelson from IlanaMichelson.com, and I'm out in the park. I actually understood that I am allowed to go to the park and take a walk by myself, so here I am. Beautiful day. It's even a little bit breezy, which is pretty nice here in Israel at this time of year. And I was gonna go sit at my tree, which you can see over there, but it was a little bit too sunny and I couldn't actually look into the camera. I didn't want you to see me squinting the whole time. So I decided to sit in the grass instead, which is also quite nice. Sitting in the grass is a good thing to do. I like grass. Anyway, what I was going to talk to you today is I was going to clarify some things that I said yesterday that I wasn't sure was quite so clear. Now, what I spoke about yesterday was the idea that we work on things that are triggers in life, and then a lot of people come and expect that the triggers are going to totally disappear. So the path that actually happens is this. You work on the trigger, you work on the trigger, you work on the trigger, because very often there's more than one trigger, not just one trigger. You have a lot of proofs to your program of why something bothers you, and they usually come from your childhood, but often goes into the adulthood as well, because the things have accumulated. And in a certain extent, what I believe is that it keeps coming back to teach you the lesson that you have to learn, which is to get rid of what it is. Oops, you're not falling over here. To get rid of the thing that is triggering you all the time. Now, if you keep being triggered, what it means is that you still have more proofs for that trigger that you still have to get rid of, and that's okay, because it's like you're peeling an onion and you keep going further and further till you get deep down to the actual core in the middle, and then you're usually done with it. Now what happens is this: as you go through it, number one, the amount of times that you have to work on it usually lessens, and number two, the extent that it bothers you usually gets lower. But people who are sensitive to it, people who work on these things all the time and are alert to the fact, oh wait, this is triggering me, I have to go work on this. Oh wait, this is triggering me, I have to go work on it, are often feeling that they're never getting to the end of it. Just keep going and going and going and never get to the end of it. Now what happens is this, in my opinion: the universe or God or whatever it is that is you believe is construing the world comes back and keeps kind of like testing you, but it's not really testing. It's like, if you are still being triggered by it, it just means to me there's still more work to be done. Once you stop being triggered by it, the first stage afterwards is usually, oh, that's strange, that happened, and it no longer triggers me. Just like I told you about the bills. I got the bill and I said to myself, oh, look at that. I'm not triggered by the bill anymore. I'm not going into panic anymore. I'm actually okay with the bill. Not that I like bills, but I'm okay with it. Don't have to worry about it anymore. Okay, that's the first stage. The next stage after that is that you don't even notice that the trigger's there. And the trigger might still be there, but just doesn't apply to you. It's no longer inside of you. You can only see the trigger if it's still inside of you. If it's not inside of you anymore, you aren't going to see it. And if you do see it, it's going to be from that distant place of like, oh, that's their problem. It's not my problem. Now, the next stage is that the person who is doing the trigger, or any of the people who are doing the trigger, any of the people that you attract into your life because they thought that they're going to get a reaction out of you from what they're doing, is going to suddenly realize, hey, this isn't working anymore. They're no longer reacting the way that I want them to react, the way that I expect them to react. And once that happens, in general, they stop doing what they're doing because they're not getting the reaction. It's kind of similar to the idea of a child that you're trying to train to go to sleep early. Okay, I find this very often with first-time parents. They have their baby, the baby goes to sleep whenever they want them to, wherever they want to go to sleep, whatever's good for them. Meaning, like, if they're going out till 11 o'clock at night, so the baby will go to sleep at 11 o'clock at night. If they're going out till 1 o'clock in the morning, the baby will go to sleep at 1 o'clock in the morning. And then the second child comes along and it doesn't work so well anymore, because the older child is no longer that easy baby that you just have to feed him, rock a little bit, put to sleep. This older child is like running all over the house, wants to play with toys, wants to drink, doesn't want to go into bed. So you say, all right, I have to train this kid to go to sleep. And the first night you try training to go to sleep, you say, all right, 7 o'clock at night, time for you to go to sleep. And the kid puts up this whole big fight, because they're expecting to be able to go to sleep whenever they want, not at 7 o'clock when you now want them to go to sleep. And they might cry all night long and scream and throw tantrums and grow fits. And as long as you stay consistent, and I'm not talking about being mean and angry and, hitting the child, God forbid, or yelling at the child, God forbid, you don't have to do that. You can do it in a very loving way. You just keep going again and say, now it's time for you to go to sleep, lie down, And then you go back out of the room, and this child starts crying and screaming again. You come back in, it's time to go to sleep. I love you, but it's now time to go to sleep. Put the child down and go back out of the room. Okay? After a few nights of this, when the child realizes they're not going to get to go to sleep whenever they want anymore, this is the new rule of the house, they generally just calm down, give in, and start going to sleep at 7 o'clock at night. And the same thing happens when you attract somebody into your life, or they attracted you into their life because they wanted a specific reaction from you and you were giving them that reaction. They continue doing the reaction. Now, the first time when you stop giving them the reaction, they're going to try even harder to get that reaction because they still want that reaction. That's why they attract you into their life. They're going to keep going harder and harder until eventually you're going to realize this isn't working anymore. That other person over there who I attracted unconsciously into my life to give me the reaction that I wanted is no longer giving me the reaction. And one of two things can happen. Either they're going to say, okay, I'm going to reach up to their level because I really love them and I want to stay with them and I don't really need that reaction anyway. Or they'll say, this reaction is really important to me, and they will leave, go out. Either way, you're ahead of the game because you're no longer being put through that game of having to react in a way that they wanted you to react, but in a way that triggers you and makes you feel bad because you don't really want to feel bad. Nobody likes to feel bad. Even if it's an unconscious comfort zone, you don't like feeling bad on a conscious level. And so I say, do the work, and I do the work constantly. Whenever things trigger me, I right away start thinking, why am I reacting this way? What's going on over here? And I right away start doing my processes, whether it's tapping, whether it's spinning, whether it's styling, doesn't make a difference, till it no longer bothers me. And it might continue to bother me for a while, because as I said, there are layers to this, and there are more proofs that I have for it, and I'll continue doing the work until I realize, hey, that didn't bother me anymore. And then after that, at a certain point, I won't even notice it anymore in terms of me. I might notice it, oh, look what they're doing to that other person, but I won't notice it in terms of me anymore. And that is a really great place to be because it gives you freedom and it gives your power to you, not to the other person. It's not that they can create a reaction in you because that's the reaction they're looking for. You create the reaction that you want to give in a way that you want to give it. Hi there, Naomi. Hope you're enjoying this. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to answer it. You can either write them down below, you can email me, you can text me, WhatsApp me. I usually have my email up above over there. And other than that, remember that I'm here to make the whole world happy, 1% at a time, starting with myself. And as it reverberates out, the happiness spreads. And to keep as many couples as happily married as possible. So remember, things are always going my way. If you haven't given me a like down below, I love to get those hearts. If you're watching this on YouTube, you can also press the subscribe button and bell notification to be notified every time I put a new video. Have a great morning, evening, afternoon, nighttime, wherever you are in this world. From Ilana Michelson. Take care.